mentioned that the joint regulation and border control, which was one of the conditions that was set by The Hague, the Dutch government, that was handled, the final draft was handled last week by the Council of Ministers, and I was authorized to sign that document on behalf of St. Martin. The document was signed and was sent on to the Dutch government, so we are now awaiting the signatures of the different ministries that are concerned. In the Netherlands, while on St. Martin it pertains one ministry, in the Netherlands you have the Ministry of Justice and Security that is involved, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of BZK, the Internal and Kingdom Affairs, and the Defense Ministry. So the state secretaries from all of those ministries still have to sign the document, and once that is done, then we are ready. I'd like to give a couple of highlights of what is in that document, because there has been in the roundup to all of this a lot of confusion about the conditions. Okay, now that I think the smoke has cleared as to where we are going with the conditions and what we're going to do, it is only right for the public to have an idea what this whole thing about border control entails, what we are going to do. First of all, the border control, as was said in the beginning by The Hague, is tied to extra input of the marechaussee and support of the border, and especially for person and control of persons and goods, and especially during the period of the reconstruction. This is based and motivated on the fact that in areas, different other parts of the world where disasters have taken place, that it seems to attract persons and goods that are not necessarily welcome to the community. And with the extra input, and I keep emphasizing extra input, this would be combated. The document clearly states that the Minister of Justice of St. Martin remains responsible for the policy and the execution of the border control on St. Martin. So it has nothing, this document, the document that I signed, has nothing to do with any kind of a takeover or what have you not. St. Martin remains responsible for the border control, the policy and the execution of the border control on St. Martin. And that is Article 2 of that document. Naturally, it was also said that we already, it is not new, marechaussees are not coming to St. Martin now for the first time. I mentioned we already have a protocol in which we are getting assistance from the marechaussee. So the marechaussee is already assisting St. Martin on the borders. And in this case, we are getting extra assistance for a specific period geared specifically towards a set of tasks. How is that going to be worked out? The responsible authority, so the responsible department on St. Martin, it would be those responsible for immigration and border control, which is the KPSM, as it is now, an immigration department, the customs of St. Martin, along with the marechaussee and the customs of the Netherlands. They would get together and prepare a plan of approach with exactly how they are going to move forward in executing the task. And this plan of approach should be jointly by them established by the 1st of January 2018. The plan would include the operational organizational structure and how the task, etc., would be executing, and the involvement of the marechaussee and the customs would be secured or assured. The tasks that are being looked at that would be tackled would be the combating of illegal migration at the borders, drugs and weapon controls at the borders, combating migration criminality as far as the border control is concerned, the drugs criminality in relation to the border control, and illegal streams of money. Those are the tasks that will be concentrated on in the execution of this agreement. In the agreement, it would be so that its control on borders and goods. The marechaussee would be concentrating on the control of persons, and the customs would not really, by nature of their task, would be responsible for the control of goods. The agreement states that St. Martin would naturally have to make sure that the marechaussee and the custom have the necessary authority to be able to perform their duties. This is like, for instance, we have a lot of police officers operating on St. Martin from the Netherlands and Curaçao, etc. And in order to do so, they have to get authority. So an oath has to be taken. The oath is taken in front of the Minister of Justice, and a decree is signed, giving them the authority to be able to execute their task. So to carry weapons, to be able to make arrests, etc. Those authorities they need to have to be able to do their task.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within one calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NV.
Over the weekend, on Saturday, we celebrated St. Martin Day. We have been, for the past week, since October 14th, been celebrating. I think I have probably stated that in every week's press briefing. Since here, we've been promoting it on social media, on radios, in the newspapers as well. And I would like to thank all those who has helped us to organize and promote these events. It was called the Road to St. Martin Day, and St. Martin Day happened. Of course, they say Bacchanal is left for Carnival, but apparently the current situation lent itself to even more Bacchanal on St. Martin Day. And I would like to clarify a bit what took place on Saturday for those who may have missed it, whether in previous press briefings or even on that day, because it was very clear that our intentions First Vice President, Madam Valerie Damaso, who's responsible for culture and youth and tourism, and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, that we've been collaborating even prior to Irma to be able to plan a well thought out and people-centered St. Martin Day, as well as all the activities leading up to that. Even though Irma posed a threat to us being able to carry out our original plans, we were able to quickly after Irma, after the emergency situation had been a bit behind us, to sit together with our teams and in fact join with the St. Martin Strong team, which included the Ministry of TIAT, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of, I believe, General Affairs, with DCOM also being involved in making sure that we could promote this island as being ready to start back the process, getting our feet back under us. And I think we've done as an island a great job of bouncing back. We also, under the theme of building back better, have found ways to be collaborative. And while for many a year there has been empty talk about unity, I believe this was a great year for St. Martin to prove its oneness. Instead of having the usual long drawn-out speeches, Madam Damaso and I, in collaboration with our respective governments, agreed that to make it more something the people could identify with and not necessarily a national Dutch-French celebration, we would promote the one island, one people, one destiny, building back our nation as our theme, St. Martin Strong. So we've had services on both sides. We've had games. No, the games weren't on both sides because their facilities were down. Cultural aspects were on both sides. And a program was set up and approved where only Madame Damaso and myself would be speakers. However, in the last week prior to the event, St. Martin Day, it became clear that those who felt it was a custom to have their speeches heard, whether they be political or not, would feel offended to not having been invited to speak. Firstly, we added Prime Minister Marlin and the President, Daniel Gibbs, to the program as leaders of our local governments. We saw no problem with that because it's our government, it's our leaders, and it is our cultural celebration. That wasn't an issue so much, and it was actually insisted upon by the protocol office of the French side. We didn't have a problem bending on that. Later, it became clear, but due to last year's snafu, due to the disputes that had been going on with the Oyster Bay, Oyster Pond, and the demarcation, and we all know the saga as that had played out, that the Préfet felt that she may not have been invited to speak because something was technically or quote unquote still wrong where that is concerned. And so to dispel any feeling that there was any ill will intended, we accepted that, okay, maybe change, maybe we're not quite ready for that type of change on St. Martin. And maybe the communication of such to all involved was not clear enough from the beginning and the onset, and such that expectation was there. And so we, again, acquiesced and invited the Préfet and the Governor of St. Martin to also speak, as well as the President of Parliament. All of this was planned to take place after the ecumenical service right here in front of the government building, and it did. The wreath-laying ceremony, when we look at, and being a teacher and having taught for many years, and I've explained here in council, press briefing, as well as in radio interviews, what the gist of the wreath-laying in terms of the people's detachment from it, the date of commemoration on the border monuments being March 23rd, and actually celebrating French and Dutch working together, collaborating and living together, yes, but that it was signed on the 23rd of March, 1648, and that the monuments were built in 1948. So we felt that since that date is mostly overlooked, that we could still highlight that unity, that collaboration between what was done in slavery time, actually, and stands as one of our cultural icons today, okay, that we would do that on the date on which it was signed. So not that we as a government, what was the first statement, boycotted any wreath laying. We just felt it appropriate to do it on another time, and we informed in a timely fashion. However, the political atmosphere being what it may and things being used for political mileage, I guess it was interesting to note also, and the people should be the judge of that. Go back to the previous St. Martin days and Border Monument wreath layings and see who were in attendance. Just go and check how many members of parliament, whether they were in or out, whether they were supporting or not supporting the current government at the time. Go way back, and then we will see who's sincere and who is not. As a matter of fact, on our list of invitees for the ecumenical service and opening ceremony were all 15 members of parliament. Can we say that the sitting new coalition or majority in parliament boycotted the St. Martin Day celebrations as were planned by this outgoing government? Is it then not part of your patriotism? Is it then not part of celebrating with the people of St. Martin? The President of Parliament did come, and I thank her for that, as well as the other members of Parliament. Thank you for your attendance. And more importantly, our colleagues in both levels of government on the French side were in attendance, as well as the people of St. Martin. And I saw the people of St. Martin enjoying the festivities throughout the day, straight up to midnight. And as such, I consider that the efforts made by French and Dutch, by Madame Damaso and myself, and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, DCOM, and all other stakeholders, all of those artists who came out and gave their hearts and soul for the love of St. Martin, I thank you. And the people of St. Martin thanks you. And I invite all to visit government's web pages to see the pictures if you missed it, to catch the videos of the various speeches, as well as the ecumenical service. I'm sure it will be a blessing to you, and I especially thank Reverend Brissett for that very moving message and motivational speech.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles from within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. how much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
The stark difference for those survivors of Hurricane Lewis 22 years ago and those of Irma was the return of electricity. Some 90% of the country's utility cables are underground, facilitating the return of electricity to several districts within days of Irma. It took some 3 months before the last home was reconnected after Lewis in 1995. Electricity supply may not be at utility companies GEB's pre-Irma capacity, but residents with power are thankful for the return of some normalcy. Running water has been a challenge. There has been partial restoration of water supply in the country. Biggest hurdle is the damage to above-ground pipes and meters as well as the storage tanks.
We did an assessment of our damages, so there are different crews went out on through the island, assessing the buildings, assessing the power plant, assessing water tanks, assessing the distribution transformer houses, overhead cables, etc. Then we came back to the office that afternoon, and we made a plan from there for the next day, how we're going to start to restore power and which areas goes first. The damages to GB was really severe. We lost our main building, which housed our finance, accounts payable, ICT department, etc. The whole front of it was damaged, the back is damaged as well too. So space for employees in that building was non-existent. Then we look at the distribution building. We had some roof panels got lost, we had water damage. So inside that building also gone as well too. So we work mainly from in the management building where we are sitting now. We work from there and from in the yard as well too for those employees here. At the warehouse in Soccer Garden, we lost the entire building. So our stock items were all exposed to the weather, etc. We try to secure them as much as possible. Then we have our cable yard. We have our cables, our poles, and the garage. There's also damage, mainly the canopies are damaged. We lost some transformers as well too, that got damaged, that was stored there. Then we have our KB, our workshop, suffered some damage to the windows. A lot of windows blew out. The warehouse, we got some water damage in the warehouse. And then the biggest disappointment was for us, our new buildings, building number 4 and 5, they also got damaged. Building number 4, a quarter of the roof was damaged. Building 5, half of the roof was damaged. And just where it got damaged was exactly over the generators, the electrical part of the engine that produces electricity. So there's no way we could run those engines that was under the exposed roof. Building number 3, we lose a lot of panels, zincs on the roof, and one side of a wall was totally destroyed as well too. So those 2 engines in that building could not be used. Building number 2, half of the roof blew away, and the northern wall fell in as well too. And we was left with 2 engines in that building that could have run. 3 engines in that building could have run. We were not able to run at a point in time because they're exposed to the elements of the elements. So we started to clean up the power plant and try to get at least 1 engine back online. And once we did that, we got engine number 1 back online, a small unit. We decided back then to supply medical center with power from GB. We also supplied the NEPA school, which was a shelter, and the fire department, and the Asher Stevens School. The Asher Stevens School housed the Marines, and they were also critical for us to get them power. We also try to get water to them as well too, from our tanks on Cahill. Then we got some other engines cleaning the power plant. We restore some more power, and we look at some critical institutions such as the governor's office, TEDM office for communication, UTS for communication. Look at the police department, etc. So we look at those critical areas to power them, get them power as soon as possible. So that restoration started immediately after the storm. As for water, from our 15 water tanks, we lose 7 water tanks. 3 of them is totally damaged, and the balance, the roof is blown away. So we're left with open tanks. So what we did as well at that point in time, we know that electricity and water is vital for our consumers, we decided to take water trucks to deliver water to the various different districts immediately after the storm, because water is a basic necessity. So we deliver water via water trucks to different neighborhoods. I know some people complain they never pass in their area, but we know that we try to cover as much as possible. It was a bit impossible with 5 trucks to cover all and every street on St. Martin, but as GB, we did our utmost best to make sure there's water through the whole island as much as possible. There were some challenges and some lessons to be learned as well too. The communication was a challenge. Remember, we tried to go on the radio station as much as possible, but also we have to bear in mind that many people don't have radios at home either. So the message was going to everyone, women are certain district. But all in all, we learned some lessons from that experience. So God forbid, happen next time, we can adjust our sails and go with the wind to improve that situation for sure.
So at the beginning of the hurricane season, back in June, we already started with the preparation, started talking to the various heads of department and the managers, preparing ourselves in the event of a hurricane, what we would do. And then as we saw the projections of Irma, then we had at least 3 meetings with the department heads, with the managers. The departments separately had their meetings, especially the distribution department, where teams were already put in place, crews were put in place for water, for electricity, you know, who would go where, what would happen immediately after the hurricane. Also importantly, we printed over 120 passes, hurricane passes, so that people could have access to get on the road immediately after. We printed tags for the cars so that they could be identified by police. So you could say that we were well prepared ahead of time. We got the walkie-talkies, everything. We were well prepared for right after the hurricane, that we could react immediately and try to start with the restoration process.